Outlier has been one of the very few European VCs that were actually involved in ICOs, right?
True. Yeah. True.
So yeah, I think that's introductory enough. So Aaron, please tell us more.
All right. Thanks very much. Rutger. All right. So my name is Aron van Ammers. I'm CTO and founding partner of Outlier Ventures. I'm Dutch, but the company is in the UK mostly. Where's the clicker? Yeah, that's good. Thank you. So Outlier Ventures is what we say a Web 3.0 venture platform. It's not purely VC. We really are all about value add. And our investment thesis concentrates on the convergence of blockchain and other deep tech, like AI, like machine learning, like Internet of Things. We come from a background, we're what I would call blockchain natives. We've been about blockchain for all of the existence of the company. And we've looked at, we spoke to basically all the blockchain startups in the ecosystem. We did something called Blockchain Angels. So we saw a lot of startups come by. And from speaking of that, we earlier this year we put out a piece, or the main founder of the company, Jamie Berkey, put out a piece called 99% of blockchain startups are bullshit, with respect. That was, I mean, meant less insultory than it sounds. But what it came down to is blockchain is, for large part, about tokens. It's about businesses, but it's also about tokens. Maybe some things, if you've seen the fat protocols concept, or thin protocols as it's called, you should look into that. But if you look at something like Bitcoin, the value is very little in startups, or very little in businesses, and very much in the tokens themselves. So that's something to keep in mind. However, businesses are useful things. So what do? We invest in both equity and in tokens. So we do believe in there's place for equity, and there's place for limited companies as serving what we call token economies. But the token phenomena is not going away anytime soon. We've heard statistics in earlier talks, probably, like token investments surpassing VC investments in blockchain land alone, and that's probably going to continue. What happens when you create a token, it's not just a funding mechanism. If you say, okay, we're the startup, we're 10 guys, and we had this thing, and now we're going to launch a token, and we're going to grab 100 million. That really doesn't work. I mean, not on its own. When you're creating a token, you're creating an economy, really. You're really funding a community rather than a specific team. Yes, that team comes up with the idea, and yes, that team comes up with some of the starting technology. But it's really the community around it that starts adopting the technology, that invests in the tokens, that maybe has a long-term holding of the tokens, that maybe contributes value to the ecosystem. It's not just the startup. Everybody owns a piece of that token economy, and that totally turns around the model of financing, of building it out, and of the dynamics in the ecosystem. So we, as a venture platform, we bring value add in all of those areas. That starts with crypto economics, as we've heard Alexander give an excellent talk about. That is about the deep research that we do into all of these technological areas to really assist all the portfolio companies that we have to make best use of them. That is about academic partnerships. We have a research program with the Imperial College in London. We have a collaboration with them on the economics department as well, to really run deep research on all of these use cases, and to also follow the note of some of the earlier speakers. You don't have to be that fast. It's better to go a bit slow with these things, or at least do very thorough research and design of your economy, because creating an economy, it means creating monetary policies. It means these things will work like that for a longer time, and they're pretty hard to change. So you need to simulate, you need to apply the game theoretic and behavioral economic principles to see, does it even make sense what we're trying to do here? So that's what we do. We bring a corporate network, of course, all over the world, and also strong in Germany. We're focusing on Industry 4.0 as part of the convergence theme. Community outreach is something that we help with, because once again, you're not investing in a startup. Yes, okay, you might be investing in a startup, but you're mainly investing in a community if you're talking about tokens. And of course, we bring investing acumen to the table, like where does it make sense to invest, and where does it make sense to get out. Along with some of our examples of our portfolio companies, I'll add a bit to that, a bit of flavor. So Evernym is a company in identity. That's their background. And for them, the interesting part is that blockchain for them is a solution to a problem that they had in doing their business, in fulfilling their vision. Whereas if most of the 99% that I just mentioned, they came from blockchain as a tool and finding the nail where they can hit their hammer. And there weren't that many nails that would fit the hammer. But for Evernym, blockchain technology actually solved the problem. So they created Sovereign, which is an open identity ledger, which is specifically separate from Evernym as an organization. It's owned by no one. Well, it's owned by everyone of the token holders, and there's a foundation governing it. But they're really governing it on behalf of everyone using it. And so we're helping them out with the token design, the crypto economics around it, the regulatory aspects, of course, because all this token world is just being created, and there's a lot of mess out there. Also, the regulators are trying to understand what happens and coming in. So yeah, we really fulfill that role of helping our portfolio companies doing things the right way, or at least the best foreseeable way with all current information. IOTA is another important investment. It's a radically different crypto ledger focused on the Internet of Things. It's not a blockchain, but it's called the directed acyclical graph. But it's mainly focused on getting all of these Internet of Things devices, which are exploding in volume and in size over already and over the next periods, to let them communicate securely, and importantly, to let them transact in value on their own, machine-to-machine economy, not human-to-machine or human-to-human. And last but not least, Botanic and the seed network that they are creating are all about conversational user interfaces and democratizing AI through the use of, amongst others, blockchain technology. When you think about conversational user interfaces, for example, chat bots, video bots, your Alexa, your Google, all of these gather value, data, which is very valuable at this point, gathered in silos. So we have about 4 or 5 silos. We have Amazon, Google, Facebook. They capture the vast majority of all user data and keep improving their platforms. But it's all captured by a single company. So what Botanic is doing with Seed is democratizing that, is opening that up so that you can, as a user, as a developer, contribute to that, gather value. A corporate can work with it. So it's all about going away from the corporate monopoly model towards more equitable remuneration for contribution as a strong AI component. So that's also for us a very interesting and fitting investment. So those were some examples. I wanted to leave you with one question to think about. As also mentioned earlier, this thing of selling tokens, it's just getting started, right? It's like, okay, we have Bitcoin, we could create our own coin and sell it, and people did it. And then people started thinking, okay, maybe you should do an auction model, and maybe we should do a second token sale. or maybe we should do a drip token sale like the Sweetbridge guys are doing. But all of these models are just being invented. Why wouldn't be creating far more tokens? Why wouldn't, for example, a crossover organization, as Raimo introduced in his inspiring talk, why wouldn't you issue a token for your team with whom you work for 1, 2, 3 years, and then disband it all, or rather, contribute, get tokens, and then step out again? It could be another way to finance, and you could create them on the fly, or there could be individuals creating them. So what would that world look like if there's more mature ways to tokenize, and what value could that add? Something to think about. Thanks very much.